Hello, everybody. Congratulations on completing Milestone 2. Most folks did really outstanding work. However, please check your rubrics and make sure you read all the comments so that when you move forward to Milestone 3 and the final paper, you do this correctly. Most people did excellent work. If I said it's strong enough to go on, or you got something over a 90 or 200, you're in great shape. So please move forward with what you've done. If that's not you, that's okay too. Okay, this is a learning experience. So for those of you who got, a lot of people got an 80. Or 75 or 80, if that's you, please know that that's a signal for you to correct what I've told you to correct in the rubric. Okay, you got to follow through the directions for changing your work. Okay, when I make directions, this ensures your success. This is about your success. Many of you think this has to do with opinion, or if you couch your language authoritatively enough that it's okay, but it's not. You cannot make an assertion, and there's a correlation. There's a sociology word for it. There's a correlation between you making an assertion that's not correct or not substantiated by the literature, and you're not using references. So first of all, if you're not using references, more likely than not, you're making this kind of an error. Okay, it's not an opinion or a reaction paper. Do not tell me that violent crime has increased. It hasn't. The data don't indicate that. This is a scientific paper. It's a research paper. Okay. So please keep that in mind. It's not your opinion. While your opinion is valuable, this is a class where the projects are based on empirical evidence. That's data. That's data from research. So please, and many of you are also committing the error of you didn't read in the project setup that's there in the first week. You didn't read through to the end, as I suggested that you do in the video I made earlier. There's a link there. It says supplemental material, and I was real clear to point that out to you. Crime and violence, or drugs and alcohol, are not topics. That's not a research topic. You could get an undergraduate degree in drug and alcohol counseling. Okay, that's pretty broad. What you need to do is narrow. You need to specify. Are you talking about, if you're talking about addiction treatment? Yeah, maybe you can make that statement, but don't tell me about drugs and alcohol. And I don't know where people come up with this business about the Aztecs. I think it's just the first thing you read somewhere in a book. I don't want to see that. You can eliminate that from anything that you write. The poor Aztecs are gone, or they're not gone. They're still there, but they've been assimilated, right? By the Europeans, right? 500 years ago. So don't write me a history of drug abuse, or try to, in a paragraph. I don't want to see it. Don't tell me that bullying has been around since the beginning of time. Okay. What are these things? These are cliches. Okay. There's a link between single parenthood and poverty, for example. It's not a moral question. It's not. I was raised by a single parent. It's not a question that your religious tradition thinks of it, or your opinion. It's an empirical fact that's grounded in research evidence. Most households where there are two parents, for example, have two incomes. There's one parent and one income. Okay. This is a simple math problem compounded with the reality that women make less money than men, and that child care in the United States is a right. It's not a it's a commodity. It's not a right. It's a commodity. You cannot make bald assertions in an authoritative writing tone without evidence. And that means citations and references. Okay? A lot of people put race, for example, in their models of drug abuse. Usually that was put in models that were not very well defined. I mean, race, I'm here to tell you from the criminological literature, is not correlated with incidences of drug abuse. People of color are less likely, according to the data, to use drugs, but more likely to be arrested by the police. Okay? Third, poverty is weakly correlated with crime. Okay? Most poor people are not criminals. People are making these leaps about, well, people are poor and they commit. No. Okay? Most criminal activity happens in poor neighborhoods. So you don't want to commit what is termed an ecological fallacy here of confounding a cause and effect relationship with a correlation. If you've done the work and you've treated this like a research project, not an opinion paper, not a reaction paper as you may have written in an English class, then you're going to be in good shape. How do you guard against this? Okay. Again, empirical research. If you're just shooting from the hip, you can't make a statement based on what you've heard or what your belief system tells you. You have to ground your assertion in research, okay? You might, as I have found in looking at single parenthood, not like what the evidence says, but the difference in a class in opinion framing, a class in social science. This is a science, not your opinion, okay? Some of you have not followed through on the directions I provided, for Milestone 1 and for doing this paper. I made a video in which I said, SNHU provides clear prompts to get you to thinking about what you might want to work on. Drugs and alcohol, another one's crime and violence, but these are suggestions. Do not tell me about crime and violence or drugs and alcohol. Now, somebody's written an excellent paper on violent crime, right? Which is the term criminologists would use. And you can write about that specifically. It's called an index crime. There's information from the Department of Justice. And you can look at, while the trends indicate a decline in that, and you can explain that, there are still some places where it is geographically, specifically a bad issue. Okay. We've got an opioid epidemic. We've got alcohol, abuse. We've got abuse. People have done excellent work on those specific topics. They've done excellent work on the misuse of prescription drugs. Okay. But if you're still writing me a paper at this point on drugs and alcohol, you need to stop, go, and redo. Okay. So you need to narrow your focus if I've told you to. Otherwise, please, some of you have done outstanding work. And I want you to continue to move forward with what you are doing. Okay. Move forward what you're doing. Keep in mind the format for the paper, right? Please do not submit Milestone 3, with the same errors uncorrected and unread rubrics. If you've had some issues from Milestones 1 and 2. A shortcut, I strongly recommend. If you're stuck, if you don't have time, go to Southern New Hampshire University's Writing Center. You pay for it, okay? They'll help you to narrow the topic. You tell them what you need, and they're going to help you. And look, don't make a sort of error, of maturity, which suggests that it's somehow an insult, if somebody gives you a critique of your writing. Don't do that. you know, everybody, including me, I have to have my writing critiqued all of the time. Okay, it happens all the time, right? You know, I go to people, I have them read. So if that's you and you need that, and you know, go there. And plus, incidentally, it's a short way. This is a quick course. It's 8 weeks. You know, we're already in week 5. So please, you know, we've got 3 weeks left together. You know, go ahead. You know, take a shot. Give them a you know, contact them over the link in your student homepage, and you're going to be in great shape. I'll try to provide that link here down there. Again, I know everybody. I know you're busy. I know that this is, you might be in crisis mode, etc. But this is what we got to do, you know, for your optimum success. You know, we're all kind of settling into this new reality here. Let me know if there's anything else I can do to help. But please read what I said, and then you know, I mean, if it's a time crunch, you know, consult with the folks at the Writing Center to help you. Otherwise, you know, everybody's moving ahead. Everybody's doing pretty well. I look forward to reading many of the Milestone 3s. And there's a lawnmower outside. That's not unusual here. So take care. And have a good one.